All right, we are live. Welcome everybody. Friday, 2 Fridays in a row.
Yeah,
it's a record. Yeah. Record for 20, whatever it is.
2023.
Yeah, I was going to say 2013. That's a little bit off. So yeah, we're back, and I'm feeling ranty today. So maybe somebody will get me going on something.
I'm sure.
Feeling spry, polishing my Brewster Green. It's taking at least 5 steps. It's whoever told me that I'm gonna hate this this color or like dealing with this was right. It is like black S2000 level of finicky.
You think that's specific to the color?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the the base coat and then the whatever he was saying, something about the aluminum that's in the I don't freaking know, but it's it's a spicy one. So I'm doing 1 panel a day is the plan. I did the hood, the front trunk hood. It took me 6 hours just to do that, maybe a little more, because I worked on it 2 days or earlier this week, and then I quit because I just wasn't feeling it. And then I worked on it, last night, and so yeah, it probably took me about maybe 4.5 hours to do that part. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of work.
So let's see here. Let's see what we got going on. Our buddy Dan Pfeiffer. Hello from sunny Minnesota. 40-degree heat wave today. Happy Friday, OG crew.
Yeah, that's junk.
It was cold here the other day for one day. It was 42 degrees one morning when I got up. What is it now? It's like 70-something, 80-something. Skylar S. saying hi as I listen in Arizona. Currently tuning my family's snowboards for our trip to Steamboat.
Ooh, fun.
Matt, do you ski or snowboard?
Yeah, I've never skied, but I've snowboarded most of my life. In the Northeast, which is not Vermont Northeast, Pennsylvania Northeast, so not great mountains. But yeah, I've snowboarded, and it's one of those things like I have no desire to do it. Michelle and I went a couple of times, early on in our marriage, and it's just. She wants to go, but it's like been there, done that. I'm not really interested.
What if you could go in Steamboat or out west? Do you think that'd be different at all?
No, because I went to Breck and stuff. No, it's like I don't know. It's a lot of money because I don't want to go like third class. I'm gonna go first class, and so you're gonna spend $20,000, $15,000, $20,000 to go do it. It's just not. I'd rather not do that.
All right, Southern Motoring Solutions says. Dropping a like. I'm going to rewatch this later, but he's got a question for you.
Okay.
He says, Matt, I'm building out a dyno room at my new shop.
Okay.
Any suggestions for insulation or sound panels to attach to the walls to cut down on my noise output? I should add, it's a metal freestanding building for dyno use only, 40 by 40.
Yeah, those little acoustic treatments aren't going to do squat. You need to build a room inside of a room if you want to do that. If you check out Dundon's dyno, they have a dyno. It's kind of like a modified paint booth, but it's designed to house noise like that. It's like an engine building room, I think. Otherwise, one thing that could really help is if you spray foam insulated the whole building. That would help a lot. Insulate the door. Make sure you put what are those little felt little fingy things that
the little black fabric.
Yeah, it's like fabric or nylon. It's like a broom basically that makes sure that the air doesn't escape. I forget what that brush seal is what it's called. Yeah. And so you want to brush seal the door, insulate the door, and then actually there's a door thing that I need to get. My friend Barbara sent to me that like a different insulation because my insulation is starting to fail. It's time to redo it again. So every couple of years when you do that stuff that I did where you spray the adhesive on and stick it on the Reflectix, it like falls apart and falls off and the tape starts to fall apart. So I need to there's a guy who's made a solution that looks pretty cool. Let me see if I can find it here. I think I can find it pretty quickly.
While you're doing that, Dan also wants to know, will the OG Spec hot dog roller be available in the store soon? You never know, Dan. That could be a giveaway item, much like the douche scale was.
Yeah, it's called Door Salute.
Door Salute?
Yeah, SALUTE. And what it is, let me see if he... Yeah, Door Salute. I don't know if he's actually launched this product. But what it is, it's a magnetic... like you basically you would insulate. Say it's like a 12-foot wide door. You'd have 3 4-foot strips, and it just magnetically hangs, falls down, and like there's magnets that kind of hold the insulation to the door, which would cut down a lot in the heat. So it has basically Reflectix on one side, and then it's black, some sort of black material on the other. But I don't know if he even has a website yet. I need to contact this guy. Let me see if he has Instagram.
Look at this. I found a secret hidden door entrance while I was searching for Door Salute.
Door
$2,500.
Salute.
If I were you, I'd buy one right now.
No Instagram.
All right, while you're doing that, let's see. Philippe, our buddy in Canada, says, I'm watching live, traveling for work in Quebec City, Quebec. Sorry, Philippe. Or is it Quebec? How do you pronounce that, Philippe?
Quebec.
Quebec.
That's how they say it in Letterkenny.
Quebec. Let's see. We also have Brad Hone checking in from out west. Tim Kinley from Lake Bowen, South Carolina. All right. Hey, Matt, have you seen the trick Tavares did in Matt Armstrong's Porsche X Adam LZ to fix the lithium battery discharge problem?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's less of a battery issue and more of a charger issue. The charger's looking for it. So I think you could probably solve that by, I wonder if like a NOCO or a C-Tech that has a lithium-ion mode would overcome that. The other thing is there'd be no reason to buy an OE battery, just buy an anti-gravity for $800. But yeah, I did watch that video. I've been watching Matt. I need to call Freddie and tell him to let me polish that thing when they're done.
Let's see here. Detailing Garage says, hey, Matt, what would you use to clean a Sprinter? Would you use a truck brush like a Mercedes Sprinter van?
No, I just use a regular pads. Yep. You just get some of those Gorilla ladder thingies, a ladder, and yeah. I mean, any kind of brush on a handle. I mean, the Incredipole is the best one. You're going to put undue pressure on it. Just the simple leverage of a pole, and so I would rather just get up and on a ladder and kind of work my way from top to bottom.
Tim Kinley wants to know about that new tire dressing that you used in the last Wash and Talk. How did it perform?
Yeah, it seems okay. I don't know. I need to play with it more. I think the real advantage is it has less, especially like on the felty letters on like Cup 2s and stuff. It seems to have less streakiness to it than like OG tire dressing. This is Q2 tire something or other from Gion. It's pretty interesting. I didn't like how it applied. It was kind of goopy and kind of smeared around a lot. It's not Q2 tire. It's not the ceramic tire coating. It's gray bottle. It's like tire. It's like advanced tire or something.
Q2M.
No, that's tire cleaner. Okay. No. Yeah, it's another tire dressing that Bryce got it. Tire Express maybe. I think that's it. Yep, Tire Express.
The ultimate tire and rubber dressing.
Yeah.
Let's see. J.A. wants to know, hey, Matt, what are you currently using in place of M39?
M39? I have a bunch of it. So. Yeah, I think Tommy has a B&B, like reverse engineered version of it I need to try out. But, yeah, I don't have anything at the moment. I still have, one bottle of that will last you the rest of your life, so I have like 3 bottles of it or so, like one here, one at home, and one in Helen or something like that. So I've got enough of it for probably the rest of my life, but we do need to find a solution for it because it really is a good option to have for when you're dealing with chalky plastic that got polish on it, or you want to clean something before solution finish. I think it's the best option.
Jose wants to say, hello from LA. Thanks again to OG for solving the hex site issues. Yeah,
well, it's not solved yet, so let me just preview everybody into what's going on. So part of what I wanted to do in the beginning is I wanted to have a membership platform that was separate from YouTube, I didn't want to do it on Patreon. I wanted to build it on our own site. So that way, not that I plan to say anything, controversial, but I just don't want anybody being in charge of what can be said. And so, there's some caveats to this, and that I have used some platforms for using Vimeo, which is probably worse than any of them. But Vimeo was the hosting platform, which the quality is amazing, and then I wanted to build on our Shopify site, but without spending like $1 million, having somebody build some hosting platform and then build the whole thing. We really need to utilize apps that bolt onto the Shopify service providing platform. And the only app that was available for membership was a company called Bold that has this membership platform, which is we've hated since the very beginning. We're kind of waiting for some other solutions to become available, while simultaneously thinking about, well, could we develop our own solution? And developing our own solution is just not in the cards at the moment. And so we're just sort of buying time, hoping that we could see something better. Well, there is something better, and it just so happens as we're Tommy and Bryce are going through the discovery process, the Bold app just basically crashes. And so then we have 2,500 people that are paid members that we're sort of freaking out. I mean, I'm making these videos and putting them up, and I think maybe 25% of the people can't get in. We don't know why those people specifically, but they're just kind of dilly-dallying around. And we're paying them a bunch of money for this platform. So Bryce had a call with them yesterday and read them the riot act, and we didn't tell them we're leaving, but we I guess they at least temporarily got it up and running. We have a call, I think, on Tuesday with the hope to make the migration like early, or within the month. To make the transition. It's going to cost us a lot more money, but should be a lot better. It'll be on the Shopify platform, so instead of you having to pay some separate service or something, it'll all be part of the store, so it'll be integrated into the store. We'll be able to show your discount, even if you're not a member, what you could have if you were a member, so hopefully we get a lot more members. We'll be able to do a lot of other things, like we're actually going to start a non-paid member platform, or option. You won't be able to see the videos. We may do like one video every other month or something for them to entice them to become what do we call it, Hex Lite. And then we're going to have some other enhancements, which I think are going to be pretty cool. The possibility of a rewards program, which I don't know that I care much about that. There's something else that was really cool that we were going to be able to do. But we're going to make some significant improvements. We're going to add to Hex Plus. We're going to add a Destination OG option there for possibility of Destination OG products, as well as possibly going to Destination OG. The other really cool thing is we figured out, Manny figured out how to use Matterport in order to create interactive experiences. So the entire Helen house, I've been talking about this Helen where we'll have on the Destination OG site, every single room will have sort of bullet-pointed product lists of everything, whether it's videos or links back to product, so you can go to each individual room and see, like the garage will have 1 million little click on bullet points. We'll do it both from a tutorial perspective for people who are prospectively going to go there or are there, and then we'll have it set up for anybody to go to learn, hey, I want the lights that were in Destination OG. I want the TV that's Destination OG. So we'll have linkable, this has always been my vision, linkable interactive walkthrough experiences, so you could replicate whatever portion you wanted to replicate, which is going to be super cool. So we're doing that in tandem with working on the site, and I'm really excited about these, or working on the membership program. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and we get questions often about, can you do this? Can you do this in the membership program over the past year or two? And all those questions are what those guys were asking of the new people. Can we do this? Can we do this? This is what we want to do. So keep the feedback coming.
Yeah, I love the membership platform. It would be much more convenient if it was on YouTube, or much more convenient if it was on Patreon, but they take like Patreon takes 11-12%. I'd rather invest that back into the platform. The revenue from that helps me pay for the shipping costs and things for the discounting that we do. I think we've discounted things like $300,000 or $400,000 since we started the membership program, and paid $100,000 plus in shipping fees for people. That's direct profitability that hopefully we've sold more because of it. I think our average Hex Plus order is $200 or $300 more per order. But I just wanted a way that give people incentive without just giving it away to like drawing a line. Well, military discount, teacher discount, firefighter discount, Golden Corral worker discount, discount for every single human. I don't mean to make light of like a military discount, but I mean, where do you draw the line? And then it's, well, my family members are in the military, and then it's like, well, my grandfather, it's like where does the line drawn? And so I wanted to draw a very specific, very simple line, so I don't have to keep telling people no. I can just say, hey, here's the avenue for everybody. Everybody has this opportunity, and you have to put some skin in the game in order to make it worthwhile, because to do free shipping on a $8 order is, without having people, pay some up front, it doesn't work. So that's where that's the whole point of the membership part, is to help offset the people that are going to place, an $8 or $12 or $20 order, because it just doesn't work. We can weed out those $8 orders by adding in what it costs to ship it, and so we can help offset that, and then people can buy $8 things all they want. But there's also a transaction fee, for every order as well. So it was sort of my idea to give people the opportunity, get people off my back from asking for a discount, and say, hey, here's how I do it. Because everybody's a friend, everybody's family, everybody's got a story. And so this is what happens with retailers, and the way that we're doing it, we're curating products. We're not just picking a line. There's a reason why when you go to Bass Pro Shops, they have like few primary lines of products, because then they can have much better margin and afford the ability to have sales and give discounts and give things away. When we're doing it the way we're doing it, where we have like one product from 500 different companies, we don't have that purchasing power, so we don't have the ability to get the best pricing. So to discount on top of discount on top of discount and give away shipping and all that, it just wouldn't work. So I had to figure out a way to hopefully provide more value to people, and then if I was going to create a discounting program, do it through something like Inside the Hex. And so that's the methodology behind this, and I'm certain we lose lots and lots of sales of stuff, but it doesn't do you any good to have lots and lots of sales if you're losing money on them. You can have tons and tons of sales and run yourself out of business really quickly.
The Mad Piranha has a few more discounts you might be interested in here. The BMW owner's discount.
Oh, yeah. Renless discount, yeah.
The Florida resident
discount, yeah.
Breathing human being discount.
Senior citizen discount, right.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's the problem is so you give a teacher discount, but you don't give a firefighter discount. I'm not sure what firefighting has to do with anything, but it's a job. And a job that people have chosen to have, and a lot of businesses that market to that. I get it, but what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything we're doing here? It doesn't have anything to do with anything other than I get you're trying to thank police officers or whatever, but the police officers make a living. They get paid. They get a salary. What does me losing money on every order have to do with anything? It just quickly gets you running out of business. So it's no offense to any one category, and so I wanted to figure out how to do it without and have it not be a huge burden on the system, because I still have to pay all of my people. They don't get a discount. I don't get a discount on them for every order that comes in. I don't get a discount from the vendors for every specific category group that gets a discount. So that's the conundrum you have as a business operator, because you're kind of guilted into it by society. And I had to just keep my mouth shut, put my head down, and say, look, I just can't do it for anyone. It's just same flat price. And what we're going to hope to do is to provide more value in finding all these products and putting it together.
Jochen says he's going to do his first ceramic coating with CSL Exo.
Okay.
He's wondering about putting it over PPF. I've got a brand new 2023 Mini Cooper John Cooper Works.
Yep.
I've got PPF on the front end. How would I go about doing that?
Well, if it's not brand new PPF, you're going to want to polish the PPF first, because the PPF will have embedded dirt and crap. Even after deconning it, it'll still have some funk in it, so you're going to need to polish it like the rest of the car. polish it, and then prep it like normal. You wipe it down with eraser or surface or panel wipe or something like that. I'd avoid using panel wipe on the PBF. Just use CarPro eraser. Get it really clean. Just be mindful of the edges, and then you would coat it just like the rest of the car. Just do it all in one shot. And if it's older PPF, Halo might do better on it, but I would just CSL XO it.
Neo White says, "Hey Matt, do you foresee Veloci ever coming out with a wide mouth bottle for the foam cannon? I love mine, but it would be nice to have a wide mouth like Grio's."
I'm under NDA. Let's just say that.
Okay. Let's see. I am Daniel Max wants to know, any chance we'll get some sort of sticker or shirt maybe that has the word Poro on it?
Have I offended enough people already? Should I not put it in writing?
Maybe for the next giveaway. We'll see. Camden Design says, "Hey OG crew, Matt, I'm getting ready to do my garage floor with Swiss Tracks.
Okay.
But I just found out about a similar solution called Race Deck.
Oh, no.
Was curious if you had heard of their product."
Yeah, Race Deck is the original, right? So Swiss Tracks is technically, I don't know if they didn't steal it, but I don't know what, they don't like each other. I know that. Race Deck is a 1/2 inch thick, where Swiss Tracks is coming up, it's just under 3/4 inch thick. So the thinner tile tends to be, that's part of the reason why I never wanted that type of flooring, because it can be clickety-clackety. And if you just look at the difference in the interlocking system, the system that they use, the pin, the hook, or the loop and pin design, the Swiss Tracks is much, much more robust. It pulls together tighter. It pops apart better. It's just a much, much better design. So it's thicker. The general Race Deck, now they've come out with some wider tiles, but the general Race Deck is 12 by 12, which looks kind of cheap and old. And so 15 3/4 by 15 3/4 is the size of the Swiss Track. I'm telling you, it's like probably 30% more for Swiss Tracks, but it's like 100% better. I'm telling you, and you don't want solid flooring at all. You don't want like the diamond tracks or anything like that. You want the rib tracks, the see-through stuff, because the dirt goes through it and you vacuum it up later. Especially if you buy one of the vacuum solutions, we can talk about that a little bit. You'll want to do the Rib Trax Pro. It's the best option. They used to make a rubber tile, which we did a lot in front of our workbenches and stuff, but they stopped making that about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago now.
We have a super chat from Balin Jones, $4.99. Matt, we know that you enjoy mountain biking.
I rode my mountain bike today.
Oh, what are the odds of you getting a motocross track?
Oh, 0. Yeah, none. Yeah, a dirt bike to me seems like a really bad idea. I mean, you're guaranteed to break or tear things, and I don't deal well with doctors, so I want to avoid that. I mean, Mike F. has broken stuff in his body, shoulders and knees. I mean, actually, my buddy Ryan Dorsey he's been racing, and he just tore his ACL, and it's not if. Or it's not when, it's if. Or what is it? It's not if, it's when, right?
There you go.
It's when do you have some major broken injury, And I'm sure you could avoid it by just being real cautious, but I just not my bag. I'm way too much of a sissy for that.
Also, what is your favorite raw aluminum cleaner? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't really have one. I think maybe metallic cut from CarPro might do okay. But yeah, I'm not sure what the best option for that is.
Anthony Lucci wants to know if you have any tips on building the relationship with your local Porsche dealer. I've been on the wait list for the GTS 4.0 since September, and I'm anxious about getting an allocation. I own a 1971 911, if that helps.
I don't know, man, because I haven't been very successful at it other than with Porsche Wilmington. And so I had a friend refer me, my friend Sean from GT Smokies, who referred me to Porsche Wilmington and in North Carolina. So I had to go out of town and then just right place, right time. They had gotten an allocation for a GT4 for me. And then I've just said yes every time they had something, or I'd call Tom, and so even then, like I want a GT4 RS. I can't get one. I would love to have the allocation for the GT3 RS. I can't get one. Like they don't have enough spots for me. So yeah, I mean the GTS 4.0, you may have to just start calling around and try to find a dealer because that's not an extremely popular car. Actually, I just got an allocation for one. And so that's a car that you could probably get your hands on if you just started calling outside of your area and just tell them your story and say, hey, don't make big promises. Be very honest with them. Like, hey, I don't know how many Porsches I'm going to get, but this is a gateway to, I'm a big fan. I hope to buy these for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be a huge customer for you, but I'd like to, buy one every few years, maybe every three or 4 years, depending on what, just be honest what you think it might be. And because like I bought 2 of mine from Porsche Orlando, they didn't give me squat. The only reason I got them from Porsche Orlando is because no one was buying Porsches at the time. So, it's a tough battle. And I tried I have tons of friends and, tons of guys that are at Porsche Ocala, and I've never gotten a car there. I bought an M3 there, and I wanted to buy other cars there, and I even sat with the general manager and would go up there often and try doing my service there, and had a really big service when I had the rats eat the thing and try to do all alignments, and it didn't do squat. I've never gotten a car from there.
Detailing Garage wants to know, which mountain bike would you recommend under $3,000?
I mean, all the big brands are great. Giant, Specialized, Trek. I mean, Trek not as much in the mountain bike, but they do make some decent mountain bikes. I like Yeti a lot. Santa Cruz. I mean, if it were me, I'd be looking at in that price range of Santa Cruz and Yeti. And then you kind of play with the packages on the configurators to figure out what you like. You want to think about travel as well, what you're going to be doing with it. So obviously hardtail would be the most common option. A hardtail that has no rear suspension, just the front fork suspension. So technically, I should be riding a hardtail around because I'm just riding trails. I'm not riding on mountains. But I like to have full suspension because I have my freaking taint can't handle. My feet go numb and stuff. So having full suspension, especially when I'm out on the trail, it just makes it much more manageable for me. And so then your natural tendency is to go, well, shoot, what's better? More travel is more better, right? But it's not really the case. It makes the bike heavier, and you really didn't even need that rear travel anyway. So doing like 150 millimeter travel, or even 125 millimeter travel. So like the SB100, SB110, I think it's an SB100 now, is my favorite bike in that range from Yeti. I just like the Yetis a lot, but I think the Santa Cruz is also great. And then, like I said, the big boys, Specialized, Giant, and the thing that sucks about mountain bikes is trying to get them, and get the local dealers are just freaking goofs usually. So hopefully you can find a decent local dealer. And you don't want to buy what's in stock. You want to buy what you want. And so they're always reluctant to do that. So you want to make sure you call and say, here's what I want. And I want to be a part of the process when you're assembling it.
All right, Balin, your dirt bike buddy, says, LOL, I'm coming off a broken femur right now.
Yeah, those are real men doing that stuff, man. I'm too much of a freaking sissy.
He said, dirt bikes are to mountain bikes what a GT3 RS is to an S2000.
I get it, yeah.
You're in the same ballpark, just a different level.
I just said I'm riding on flat, Florida trails, not if I see a tree stump, I'm getting off. So yeah, I'm not ballsy enough for that.
Morgan Butler says, hey, Matt, I'm thinking of getting a metal utility-style building.
Yep.
Approximately 24 by 50, half enclosed, half open for a wash bay.
Okay.
See Big Buildings Direct, for example. Thoughts on insulation type and wall mounting, pressure washer, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a metal building and you can swing it, you would be really, really, really benefit from, closed cell spray foam insulation. One other thing you could consider is you could do like 2 inches of closed cell and like 8 inches of open cell if it costs a lot less. The problem with open cell is it gets kind of flaky. So if it's me and I'm building a red iron building like that, or one of these sort of pole barn style metal style buildings, adding that insulated layer quiets everything down. It makes it sort of impervious to water and stuff like that, and air leaks. And it really is a great thing to do, other than it makes future wiring a little bit more difficult. But again, unless you're doing like 8 inches of closed cell, you still have room to run wires on top of it. But I'm going to do that, and then you probably want to do. And they have like fire retardant paint in white or black that you could paint it if you don't want to see that ugly yellow. Or you could always just if you were doing internal metal walls like the Morton buildings do often, or if you're doing doing drywall or something like that, plywood, something, you could always sandwich it. But that would be my biggest advice, is to wire it, put in more wiring than you think you need, and then on the insulated side of things, you would do closed cell. And then a building that size would probably do fine with like a 24,000 BTU Mitsubishi mini split, and maybe a few Viper fans in there to get air moving, and then try to get an insulated door. If you can't swing an insulated door, then get yourself, like I said, that Reflectix stuff, or maybe this other option that I was talking about.
Peyton wants to know, how much total electrical service do you recommend for an oversized 2-car garage? I'm working with our electrician to plan on big picture needs now, then we'll finalize with your design team later.
Yeah, I mean, a garage that size, 50 amps, depending on how, you may want to go 100 if you're going to do like electrical vehicle, like Tesla charging, if you're going to do air compressor, if you're going to do pressure washer. To put it in perspective, my pole barn outdoor wash bay, we're going to put a 100 amp service in. So you'd want to factor that in. Generally speaking, the garage it's attached. If it's a new house, then you would just it would all be part of the main panel. And so whatever you need for the house, you just want to have. You're going to have lighting, at least one lighting circuit, probably two. Actually, a garage that side for one lighting circuit. You're going to have outlet circuit. You're going to have possibly a circuit for, like, if you did attic, like magic stairs or some sort of motorized attic lift. You're going to have a circuit for a mini split. You're going to have circuit for air compressor, a pressure washer, and then I think that would be. Oh, and then if you're going to do some sort of electric charging. So you got 6 or 7 different circuits. So I would want to have 10 open circuits for the garage for future proofing. So you're going to use 6 to 7, and then have 2 or 3 extra for just in case you do something like you did, like a vacuum system or something that we did, like our 220 volt version or something like that in the future. Lift. So you're giving yourself that headroom. And if you had 10 open, you could always do some tandem circuits if you needed to in the future. So that would really free you up, 20 possibilities.
Jonathan wants to know, hey, Matt, do you have any thoughts on other G-Technic products that you don't carry in the store?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried pretty much all of them. Nothing that I think is, that I'm wild about, that I think is really best in class. I mean, I know a lot of detailers just use it because it's easier to do it, and it's all good stuff. But I think every single product that I'm using is better. I talked to Dave Phillips last night about the possibility of making a lower pH brake buster, which would be kind of cool to have for like maintenance washing, and you kind of have both. He was pretty excited about it.
Mike Parker wants to know, what are the desks that you use? Was it Uplift?
Yep. Yeah, so the Uplift commercial frame. This is not a commercial frame. This is before the commercial frame came out. This is actually the Uplift walnut top, I think. We do our own tops, so hit us up to make a top. I'm telling you, you want us to make our walnut with Rubio monocoat top for the desk. It is incredible. So, yeah, Uplift would be the frame, though. Bruce
Performance says he'd like to lay down some Geon Matte Evo on top of matte PPF.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any suggestions for what to use to assist in making sure as much 2-year-old halo is removed as possible prior to installation?
Yeah, none of that's coming off. There's nothing you can use. In fact, you're probably going to make a mess of it. Just depending on how much halo is there, you just have to try putting it on there and see what happens. Just because you can't polish it off, so there's no like chemical product that you could use that's going to do anything to that without completely damaging the PPF. So best you can hope for is just make sure it's clean and then try to iron remove it and then see if the new coating will work.
Parker wants to know, have you considered getting the new manual Supra?
No, not really. I mean, it is kind of an interesting car, but I don't know.
Tyler wants to know, hey, Matt, are you more of a luxury watch guy or a tech watch guy?
I'm really neither.
A no watch guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried them both quite a bit. I have an Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean. I'll probably get a Rolex at some point, just to have, but I just don't wear them. I don't wear a wedding ring either. I'm just not a jewelry kind of guy. I bought 2 different Apple Watches, and I bought a Whoop strap. It's just like what am I doing with this thing? I carry the phone around everywhere, so like I don't have a schedule generally, right? So like I don't need to be anywhere, so the watch is just not as useful to me, and I'm clearly not very fashionable. So why waste the money? Although watches have been a good bet the last 10 years or so. So except for of course the watch I bought isn't worth anything, but everybody else's watches are worth more. Yeah, so if I were to choose, I would choose like a Rolex or Omega instead of a Apple Watch.
Jay Icorn wants to know, are you still going to reduce the tint on the 997? I think that would class it up, especially with the silver wheels.
I'm not going to mess with it.
All right, let's see here. KY wants to know, is there any news on when we might see Idaho's kit in the store to add to an existing central vac system?
Within the early next month or late this month, we're like
working on it.
Days away. Yep.
Let's see. Tyler has a good idea for you when it comes to discounts. Just mark everything up 15% more and then offer a 15% discount for everyone. Problem solved.
Right. Yeah. The part of the whole thesis of this whole thing is that I assume that the people that are watching aren't stupid. I assume that they're bright enough to realize what's going on here. Not everybody is, but in general.
Brad Hone has a suggestion I think you might enjoy. He says, I don't discount for any group. I do have a surcharge for anyone who asks. That's good. Right. Improved Garage Super Chat. We got 2 Super Chats here. $10. Just installed my Cree C4T in my closet. Mm-hmm. DMF just shipped for my office. Thanks, Ed W., for all your help. My life is now full of Lutron and high-quality LEDs.
It's really a different existence. It's a huge investment for diminishing returns by having quality lights. But I will never be able to go back to like these freaking garbage light like we have in here. You can even see it on camera. It's just garbage. So once you start to head down that path, I really need to get on this and getting Sacco bulbs to solve that solution. Getting CR, all the CR stuff in the store. So we really need to get that done because it's so annoying to try to buy this stuff. I was just doing it the other day. I needed to buy some decent bulbs for Helen, and it's just freaking annoying. All the places look super shady, like you're guaranteeing you're giving your credit card to some place that's getting hacked, and yeah.
Let's see, Joss Stone or Jay Stone. This is his first super chat according to YouTube. So
ooh,
thanks.
nice.
$20 US.
Cool.
Hey Matt, you got a couple of choices here.
Okay.
Would you A, get a house while you could, even with the extremely high interest rates in California, as a first-time buyer, or B, buy a EAS E92 with low miles due to their high market value and wait out the housing market?
The first thing I would start doing is stop thinking about investments, right? When you're talking about houses and cars, especially if it's your house and your car. So don't think of it that way. Because neither one is going to be a real sound move. Especially they talk about real estate never loses money. Well, you might be in the one position in California real estate where that may happen. Yeah, I mean, I would almost always say buy the house. And, interest rates are not coming down. I mean, if I were a betting man, interest rates should never return. Like, this should be the low. This should be the baseline for the rest of our lives. Like, these would be the low rates we may see. Because what you see can happen when interest rates are artificially inflated. Eventually what happens is inflation is introduced. And inflation is a real killer because companies aren't making any more money. So employees aren't getting paid anymore, and yet the prices of things are rising rapidly. It's like the worst case scenario. And then it creates, and generally speaking, historically, when prices inflate, they don't generally deflate. Because disinflation or deflation can actually be even worse. Or you have a contracting economy and prices are falling on things that can really spiral into a real disaster situation. So if you're thinking about playing games with timing of housing, the pending housing crash is a bunch of nonsense. So people talk about what they know. Well, 2008 was a once-in-a-generation thing. It happened in 1929. It was a debt-related crisis. The only other debt-related crisis in the last 100 years was 2008. So this whole nonsense of banks collapsing, it's not the same. So it doesn't happen the same. There was one tech wreck, and so for many, many decades, people assume, well, there's going to be another tech wreck. Well, generally, history tends to repeat itself, but not exactly. And so when everybody says, well, houses are going to crash, what will happen is the housing market will no longer be easy. The thing that's helping house prices very logically would be the fact that they can't really build many. And so our supply of building is not really keeping up with the demand and growth of minimal growth of population. But it's one of those things where you're unlikely to see a major housing price collapse other than maybe regionally. You're also unlikely to see interest rates much lower than where we're at ever again. So 7-8%, 6-7-8% is not, so I'm going to give you a 30-year promise as a bank, 30 years, and you're going to pay 7%. That's not unrealistic. It means you may be able to buy a little less house, spend a little bit less money than you were planning or hoping to spend. But this dream of, so all of you young folks, like 3% interest rates, the only reason it happens is if these idiots go and mess it up again and do that again and create, because in order to have a 3% mortgage rate, you have to have negative effective interest rates. And that means that cash pays nothing, and you end up in a potential you got to pay the piper at some point, and we're paying that now. We're probably going to pay that for quite some time.
Austin says, "Hey Matt, any advice on what to do with a one-car garage in a townhome? Thanks. Love all the content on the Helen House."
Yeah, I mean, one car could be really nice, depending on how deep it is. It'd be nice to have like a little cabinet array in the back, and have a place to stow your pressure washer and stuff. You can make it really cool, So you do 3 light fixtures in there, so it's really well lit. Set up your hopefully you can get some water in there, so you can set up your buckets or at least garden hose and pressure washer and all that. But you do everything. The nice thing about one car is you only have half the flooring, you have half the lighting, you have half the cabinets, you have so you could outfit a one car garage for $10,000 or less and like really well done. So I would do flooring, lighting, first I'd paint, then flooring, or then lighting, then flooring, then cabinets, then pressure washer, and then you can outfit your cabinets with all the tools and all that stuff and start to build build your arsenal of things that you need to make the user experience better.
Jason McMaster says, I'm looking for a new daily driver around $100,000. Mm-hmm. Would you go with a new Porsche 911 Carrera base or BMW M4 Comp?
I mean, if you don't need the back seat, the Carrera is going to be a much better experience. It's going to be a much nicer driving experience. If I have that amount of money, I'm probably going to buy like a 2015 or 16, pre-turbo Carrera. So you get a Carrera S, for around that price. You can try to find someone who babied it. It was a low mile version. But yeah, I mean, the Carrera would be just such a better driving experience, and it's a good looking car, unlike the M4 is freaking hideous. It's like one of the ugliest cars on the road. It looks like a Pontiac Aztek that they cut the roof off of.
Jeff C. says, regarding the replacement for Meguiar's M39, Optimum Hyper Polish on a microfiber towel is excellent at removing compound/wax from textured plastic trim. It sounds counterintuitive, but it works.
Interesting.
Ricardo Burgos wants to know, are these podcasts only available on YouTube?
Nope. I'm going to make sure we get it done. They should be everywhere. So if you go to like Spotify or, I don't think anybody uses Apple Podcasts anymore, do you? I mean, you don't even have an Apple, but Spotify is the place to listen to. If you have a free Pandora, freaking get a better life here. Get Spotify. You probably use Pandora, don't you?
No, I have Spotify, but only because I'm on your plan. So.
I need to kick you off.
I've been on it for almost 5 years. It's awesome.
Yeah, you and Tommy, I think. You, Tommy, and my dad are all mooching off my plan. On my family plan. I hope they get wise to that and kick all you freeloaders off.
I'm going to change your passwords. You can't mess with it.
We got to make sure that they're putting it up. They should walk right from here with the file and upload it immediately. It takes like less than 10 minutes to do. So we need to make sure we're getting that done.
So Ricardo, the answer is yes. Or excuse me, no, not just on YouTube. Let's see. Max wants to know, does Swiss Tracks click and clack when you walk on it?
No, I mean generally not. You may get the occasional little click you hear from maybe it's popping together or something, but generally no. That's why I like it. It feels substantial. Now if you do because if you do the solid tiles, they tend to curve up in between, and you don't. That's gross.
Speaking of Swiss Tracks, says Blake Smith, how does the black show dirt versus the dark gray? I'm still torn on my design colors. Yeah, I mean,
black is like black cabinets or black cars. It tends to show more because it's plastic. And if you don't have some giant 5,000 square foot facility, it's pretty easy to take care of. Now, I wouldn't do a whole black floor, but if you do some black accents, it's not that bad. So if you're thinking whole entire black floor, don't frickin' do that. I wouldn't do that. I mean, it'll just look a little bit dirty-ish, You can see dust more and stuff like that than you can on the gray.
Nicholas says, hey, Matt, what are your thoughts on the 992 Carrera T? I'm taking delivery of mine on Tuesday and curious to get your take.
I just don't like the turbo 911s. I know it's more tunable, makes tons of power. I haven't even driven one, so I shouldn't talk too much smack on them. I've driven a 911 turbo, but not the 911 Carrera turbo versions. So I tend to not want that, but I don't have any experience of it. But the T, but people that have them say it's one of the greatest driving experiences. It's just very raw, very, very simple. So I would be inclined to say, especially if you don't know any better, if like a naturally aspirated GT3 is like, then it's probably pretty fantastic.
We have a super chat from Luke Goodwin, $5 US, but there's no question. But then a couple minutes later, he super chatted again, another $5. Said, have you thought about steel buildings, Morton, versus cinder block versus wood, all the different types? I'm trying to find out which one would be best.
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of part of the reason why at the Woodgate house I never built the steel building is I went, did the whole design and went down the whole pathway with Morton. And then it was like $120, $130 a square foot. I'm like, what's the point of building a metal building? I might as well build a block one. metal should be cheaper, like infinitely cheaper, and it depends on the timing. Oftentimes it's not. Some advantage of metal over block is that it's easier to insulate, because you could fur it out and insulate the inside of it versus, block has some natural, what is it, like R4 value or R2 value or something like that. So you to fur out on top of block, could be quite a bit more expensive, and and expands the size of your footprint, because now you've got 12-inch thick walls versus metal. You could just fur it out and gain lots of insulation, pretty easily. I would block and stucco, or block and some sort of Tyvek or like some sort of exterior or whatever insulation stuff, and you could put hardy board or something on it is oftentimes, to me, nicer. So I'm inclined to, like, if I build the garage, I'm going to build it out of ICF, insulated concrete forms, and build it like a frickin' fortress. ICF is not all that much more than doing regular block and frame these days.
Captain Howdy, he must be from the UK, because he says, "Hey Matt, how are you getting on with the Hunter tire mounter and balancer? I have the same setup. I find it excellent. Never seen it on your channel since its installation. Love the channel, by the way."
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to have it, because I do maybe on average a set of wheels and tires every other month per year. So I'm doing 6-8 sets of wheels and tires a year. But when I have a set of wheels and tires, it's really nice to be able to just do it. So I feel like I've gotten relatively proficient. I feel pretty comfortable doing wheels and tires with it.
Alex Hernandez says, Swiss tracks covering up old garage floor over using horse stall mats. What's the advantage?
I mean, if you're driving on it, horse stall mats is just not going to be a great solution. Yeah, I mean, I would Swiss tracks it.
And then I've been pronouncing his name wrong here. Jokin says it's Kenny R, not Jokin. Thanks, Chris and Matt. All right, so Jokin it is forever. Danish Crone super chat here from Joachim. He says, "Can we get an Inside the Hex video entitled Matt Reacts to Pictures of His Old House?" Go back and look at all your former.
I've been thinking about this. I really want to do like a Mystery Science Theater of like with a few of us in the corner. We've been talking about this for years. I need to get this done, of old videos. Like we need to do like the old GT350 anger video. We need to do like the old Krensla video. I'm walking around on my bare feet, and it would be really fun to do that. We absolutely need to do that.
Let's see here. Our old friend Troy Sowers says, "Gentlemen, need to come visit soon." Does that mean you're coming to see us, Troy, or we have to come see you? I think you have to come see us.
Yeah, I'm not going up there.
Yeah. So I looked at his channel here. Let's see. He sold his manual 991.2.
He's back. He's back to making. He's made two videos in the last 2 years. He's doing good.
Nice.
Yeah. You got to make videos every day, 7 days a week.
I just remember
Troy just bought a .1 RS, ultraviolet.
Ooh.
And a spec that is very similar to what I'd like to have.
Ooh, look at those big stickers on it already. I know you like that.
That's Pennsylvania inspection.
I like that color that he had, the mint green looking color. What's that one called? Do you know?
Mint green?
Yeah. That's what it's called?
Mint green.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Benjamin says, "Hey, Matt and team. Thank you for all the content and bringing us products that just make sense. I was wondering if you ever considered a dialed-in giveaway where you dial in viewers' cars."
No.
We hadn't considered it. No.
Yeah.
So a giveaway where the winner brings their car here. And
Yeah. I could do something like that. I like the idea of a garage giveaway better.
Let's see. This is from Mike Parker. "How much did it pain you, Matt, to use the Griot's garage products on Adam LZ's car?"
It didn't. I was actually kind of excited to give me another opportunity to start playing with stuff. I feel like it's been a little while since I've gone through the process of, verifying my process. And so, using all the stuff. And there's some Griot stuff that I really want to just submit an application. I mean, it's so freaking ridiculous that... like I was watching, was it Evan Shanks make a video? Like all these guys are sponsored by them, so they pay these guys lots of money to like be sponsors and know anything about detailing. Doesn't care, doesn't want to care, and they give them free product and pay them a bunch of money to talk about something they don't know anything about. And I'm asking for like grace to like let me just buy it. So I sent them an application. I think we'd probably buy about $750K worth of stuff. Like, and they're freaking dicking around like idiots. Like, I don't understand this. Like, okay, like I guess I do understand if I was a competitor, but I'm really not. I'm not making detailing chemicals. I'm looking for, I'm looking to curate products and then promote brands. So how much promotion do you think Adam and Evan are giving griots versus what I would give them? Because I have the target audience of exactly who they would want to sell stuff to. And so like for everything that Adam, even though their audiences and Evan's audiences are massively bigger, the percentage of that audience that are buyers is much, much, much smaller. So, there and what's going to happen is once they finally say yes, then they're going to be like, oh shit, we should have said yes a long time ago. And I have a feeling they're going to come back and say, you know what, we need to have you buying from Auto Geek, and I'm going to frickin' tell them to get lost.
Doodlebro SH says, hey Matt, I bet you have a lot of data systems talking to one another at OG. How do you manage the complexity and get insights from your operational systems so you can iterate effectively?
Yeah, I don't care about any of that.
Sounds like a LinkedIn email we get.
Yeah, I mean, that's for nerds that like think to like justify a job. Like none of that is necessary. There's no efficiency gained from any of that. That's what you try to do when you're trying to sell some technology platform to a company. With what we do, so we have Bryce does everything. So we have a NAS, so we have high speed, 10 gigabit connection to our computer, so we don't have to sit there, downloading from our server to each individual computer. So that's one thing. Shopify is the platform, so Shopify has all the servers and all of that stuff. There's some risk that you're building your house on their land. So that's some risk, but I think that's mitigated by the lack of need to like throttle the site and do all that kind of stuff. Other than that, we have an ADT system for security. There's really not much tech to talk to one another. We have our Lutron lighting app to control the lights, but even that's kind of stupid. Just walk over, get off your fat rear end, and turn the light switch off. So yeah, I don't really see the need for any of that. Now, if we were like a cloud-based computing corporation, sure. If we had 10,000 employees that were all operating on on some sort of intranet, sure. But we're not doing that. Everybody has a laptop that's hooked up to Wi-Fi, and it's pretty simple.
Sri says, hi Matt. Once I close on my new home, I will order the Cree lights to replace all of the non-dimmable can lights once I close on the home.
Yep.
When will they be listed on the website?
Yeah, I don't know. I need to get it done. Part of it is if they haven't been available. The thing to do is just have us, design and order it for you. So Ed will order it for you. Design at obsessedgarage.com. If you already know what you want, you can tell us. Because the problem with ordering online is you're half the time I've ordered them, I've got the wrong things, and I know what I'm looking for. And so we'll make sure that we get the right thing from Cree, but yeah, hoping soon. I mean, just bank on if you're doing CR6 tees, they're like $30 a piece, $35 a piece, something like that. If you're going to do DMF, they're $195 to $200 a piece, so considerably more expensive. They're not that much better. They are better, but the returns start to really diminish as you get to 6 times the cost.
Gone fishing. This is referring to what you spoke about earlier when you claimed you weren't fashionable.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Matt, not fashionable? Blasphemy. Dude be dripped out.
Yeah.
That's you.
I've got some Arc'teryx shorts on and my California or Los Angeles Apparel OG shirt, and I usually have some I got some old Nike Metcon 6s on that I custom designed, but that's about all you get from me, and maybe a hat.
Chris Gwynn says, Matt, I need your help.
Okay.
I think he's coming to the wrong place here.
Uh-oh.
Wife has a birthday coming up.
Oh, boy.
Turning 37. What are your go-to gifts with Michelle? First of all, don't tell everyone how old she is, Chris. That's bad.
That's stupid.
Then what are your go-to gifts?
Well, she's freaking 37 years old. She's not a child. Tell her to buy whatever she wants on her own. What is this? These freaking birthdays. What is a birthday? That's just the stupidest thing ever. It's like celebrating anniversaries and birthdays and Valentine's Day. It's so stupid. What is the point? Why do we need to do that? Are we babies? How about just get whatever you want whenever you want it? And if you can't, get a better job so that you can. Like, I don't understand. Like, so we gotta freaking have so you get celebrated like twice a month for every day of your existence. Why do you need to be celebrated all this for? It's so stupid. I hate all that crap. So my advice is nothing. Just tell her to get whatever she wants. Say, what do you want? Get it. And get it whatever day of the year you want. What does a birthday have to do with anything? Like, did you magically get, did some money float out of the sky on your birthday that you can now magically get something? Like, I don't understand. What is changed here to make it justify? Oh, you're going to celebrate the person. You're alive. Be happy. Give you a high five. It's freaking dumb.
Green Tip Academy. Hello, Matt, Chris, and team. This is William Wallace from North Carolina here. Nothing pressing. Just wanted to say keep up the awesome work. You guys have been my go-to for many, many years. Thanks, William. Appreciate that. Allergy Lies says, what's the best way to get ceramic coating off of glass? Heard it messes up Tesla auto windshield wipers.
Yeah, we told you that's a freaking idiot. It certainly doesn't do that. But you can get it off with any compound and microfiber pads, like Jescar Correction compound and a microfiber cutting pad will take it right off. But yeah, whoever told you that is a freaking idiot.
Bruce Performance says, Nexet Plastic Deep Cleaner is the Meguiar's M39 replacement. Switched over a year ago. Works amazing.
Yeah. Problem with Nexet stuff is it's hard to get, and for a long time it was really inconsistent. So maybe I will look into it.
Let's see. Coffee House, our friends at Coffee House are listening. They say, "What's up, guys? Welcome, Luke and crew."
I was thinking about going to make a fresh brewed cup of black water, but then I decided no, I don't want that.
Stick with the clear water.
Yeah,
That's good.
I'll leave that to Luke.
CJ says, my garage has large windows and limits how many locker cabinets I can use.
Yep.
Would you recommend the base 2-door cabinets for things that won't fit in drawers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you could also do the taller drawer versions of certain cabinets, but yeah, I mean, that's the two-door base cabinets, and then kind of put uppers in between can really help fill up. You can put a lot of stuff in those.
Let's see here. Hey, Matt, this is from Gage. What is your opinion on the Toyota GR86? Some say it edges out the S2000. For the base MSRP to be under $30,000, it seems to be a bargain.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably be the car I would buy, as a younger man. I think that's kind of the standard of a, really cool car that has tons of aftermarket support that could, looks cool. It's going to be super reliable, so not, like young guys buying like old beat up BMWs is so dumb. You need to buy something like this that's actually going to work. You don't have the money to be fixing it all the time, then don't go down that path. You want something that's a Subaru Toyota base that is going to work. So it works. It's fun. It's reasonably priced. It's accessible, and it looks good. Can sound good. All that stuff. You don't need to be going that fast anyway because you probably still don't know how to drive yet. And even if you do know how to drive, you're going to get yourself into trouble. So keep you out of trouble, which will mean you have more money. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have. So, yeah, I think that car's great.
All right, Blake wants to know, do you have any ideas on a good transition piece from 3/4-inch rubber flooring to the Swiss tracks? Thinking of a metal piece similar to what you used under the garage doors in the past.
I mean, I'd be inclined to just butt it up, try to figure out how to get a complete tile or even cut it. Because the tiles are 3/4 and you're 3/4-inch rubber, you should be able to just kind of transition and just butt it up next to each other. The other thing to get would be a T-molding, where the T is on the floor and you screw it to the floor and it has like a piece of metal that goes between. But I generally wouldn't do any kind of transition piece on that. If they're the same height, you shouldn't need it.
QV wants to know, would you ever consider the Porsche Taycan, or are you done with EVs in general after your Tesla experience?
Yeah, I don't. The car's so much money. Like, these cars are just too much money for something you don't really love. Unless you're just really balling out of control. I mean, to spend, like, that's why I didn't buy the Model S. I mean, to spend $150,000, or a Porsche's, more than that, approaching more than that, is to be like some numb, boring, thing that's cool to do a few launches and then you're done with that. It's just not interesting to me. If I'm going to invest that much money, I want something that I love. And there's just no way to love those. If you love them, you're a freaking nerd. It's cool. I get it, but it's like your seventh car, I think, just to have. But like, if you're into cars, if you're not into cars, why would you spend that much money on it? Unless you're just making millions of dollars a year. And if you are into cars, you're not going to love that. And so it's like, what are we doing here? It has to be like your third, fourth, fifth, sixth car, and then spend that much money is just crazy to me. That's why I bought the Model 3, and I thought I could stomach doing a Model S, it's just crazy amount of money for something like that. I don't care how much money you have, it's just not that interesting to me.
Benjamin Solins says, speaking of raw driving experiences, do you have any thoughts on an AC Cobra replica?
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah.
Not your style.
No.
Philly's Clip says, hey, big fan of the channel. Just bought an 06 E90 330i 6-speed manual sport package. Mm-hmm. What mods would you recommend?
First, stop saying mods. It's going to sound like a 12-year-old. Modifications. What modifications am I going to do to the car? We'll start with exhaust. So you'd start with intake, exhaust, strut tower braces, suspension. So you would probably do sway bars. You would do coilover kit. Then maybe wheels and tires. And then kind of clean up some of the things while you're doing that in the interior. If it's an older car, fix the leather. Try to maybe replace shift knob and steering wheel and things like that. Radar detector, window tint, paint correct. So $40,000-$50,000 and you're done. So you pick what you like most. I always start with exhaust. Intake and exhaust. Intake's usually a little more accessible price wise. Intake, exhaust, then suspension. After you do suspension, you do spacers. You do wheels, tires. Never, golden rule number 1, never do wheels and tires before suspension. Ever. Especially on that car because it's on stilts.
Let's see. Greasy Tacos. Great name there. Have you watched any of the Matt Armstrong's videos fixing up Adam LZ's crashed Porsche? I'm rooting for the guy.
Yeah, I watched them all. It's kind of I hate the whole thing of... clearly everything's getting paid for by a sponsor, right? So he's getting sponsored. He's getting zillions of views, so he's making piles of cash because he's in vogue right now. His channel is growing substantially. But I don't like the whole his dad is like a lifelong, obviously very legit mechanic, right? And so I don't like the whole thing of dum-dums that watch that think, well, this I could do this. No, you can't. Because he's going to spend $230,000 putting this car together, and it's going to be janked. There's going to be broken, weird stuff in the interior. So I get the sense, anybody that's willing to rebuild these things is not going to make everything perfect. They're going to get to a certain point to where it looks good on camera and draw the line. I'm not saying it's not Matt. All of these guys, they have to do the next project. They can't make a bunch of videos perfecting every square inch of it because no one cares. Because everybody thinks it's we could just put this together. So he bought a car that's worth $240,000 new. That's going to fall to $200,000 new. He's going to be $220,000 into a wrecked car. So of course he's doing it because it's a business thing, but I don't like the whole they're sort of people dreaming that they could do that too. That car really is a $160,000 car. What's the sticker on that thing is $165 or $170, something like that. So it's $160,000 car is nice and new. And just because they're so he bought a wrecked one for 160.
He paid 160 for it.
Yeah,
Whew.
160 grand for a wrecked car. He's gonna be at least 50K into fixing it. Excluding labor, just in parts and pieces. So he's going to be $230,000 into the car, and it's going to be janky. Might work, but there's always going to be the headliner is going to be kind of droopy, and the steering wheel is always going to be a little off. There's always going to be a little shimmy in the thing, and there's always going to be some sort of light on the dash, and one of the windows isn't quite seated right, and there's going to be 100 things like that. So now I have a $230,000 slightly janked car when I can buy a non-janked anything one for $200,000 in 2 years. Is the reality of that whole world. But it's fun to watch, and that's why it's Tavares just fun to watch, and Sam Crack and all these guys. I don't watch any of that stuff because I know what those cars look like, but those guys are way better for it. Ed and Freddie and those guys are so better for it because then they get to enjoy great cars for a lot less money. But when it's all said and done, it ends up it's not. You still have to have a lot of money to be able to do it. I just rather have a little bit more money and do it without having to do any of that. Like, I didn't even think about this, but lots of people made the comment when we were walking around Adam's shop, and he's like, I got this bumper and that bumper, and I said, oh yeah, all the bumpers are on my cars. All my bumpers are on my cars. I didn't even think anything of it. I'm like, that was a pretty good comment. So I'm all my bumpers are on my cars kind of guy. The only reason my bumper might come off is to put a new exhaust on or a new grill or something like that. But then the bumper's back on. I don't think I've ever had a bumper off a car overnight, ever. So, yeah.
Guy B32 says he or she is going to be renting a house in the Villages for 6 weeks.
Ooh.
OG visit is on the itinerary.
Yeah, come on over.
Nice.
You can come over multiple times if you'd like. I'll even put you to work if you'd like, doing some stuff.
Hank's Details says, hey, Matt, would you ever open an Obsessed Garage store in another state?
No.
Have a good day.
Yeah, no, the whole open stores concept is not part of the plan. I'm not really interested in that. You'd have to, even if you picked a major metropolitan area, I mean, you could just reach them via YouTube better, So to have storefronts, I think we could very realistically have multiple distribution centers to make things more efficient, but yeah, generally not. I don't have plans to do any of that.
AT says, hey, Matt, when are you going to give NV Nova Pro Ceramic a chance? It's way more slick than XOV4.
Probably never.
The King Leo says, hey, Matt, what do you think about all these car detailers charging hundreds of dollars and only using cheap products like Chemical Guys? I had this guy try to wash my truck and kept telling me he only uses the best, and I saw he was only using Chemical Guys.
You have to remember who you're talking to here. The vast majority of the people that are doing it for a living are doing it out of they fell into it. They don't know any better. They don't. If they did, they would have an amazing shop and they would have all the best customers. And so, the Billies of the Presidential Details of the world, the Brandon Hughes of the world, the Bradley Nielsen's at Naples Auto Armor, these young guys that they didn't fall into it, they made the choice. They've made the choice that's a career path that they've chosen to do. I think all those guys went to college, got a degree. I've met hundreds and hundreds of young and and some older guys that have kind of evolved and have built a business. And so I've always commented to all of those guys that day one, your very first car, you should be thinking about, how am I not going to do this? Every time I call Billy, he's not at the shop, he's out doing something else. So you figure out a way to build the business, not figure out a way to just detail as many cars as possible forever. And so you have to remember that most of the guys you're dealing with that didn't make that conscious decision to become or build a detailing business, they don't do that. They generally didn't get any formal education. They generally didn't make that choice. And so they're not like going home excited to do research of how to be better. They're just doing it because they have to. And that's like 90% of, mobile detailing and stuff like that. These people are, it's a job that they're doing, and they just can't wait to get home and have a 6-pack of Coors Light and, and watch the game. That's most jobs. You think like a, factory worker that's doing something that they're not passionate about, which is most people that they kind of got stuck doing. Most people are just trying to get by, and so that guy is like, he's doesn't care, doesn't know, doesn't care, doesn't want to know, and couldn't know even if he wanted to, because he just doesn't have that skill set. I think about this often, like I know many young men, young women, younger people who, especially when you're starting out in life in your career. So imagine you're working an office job, and maybe you have a diploma, maybe you have some more formal education, maybe you don't. Really doesn't matter. You have an apartment, no kids, no girlfriend, and you're at your job that you're just doing it. It's okay. You don't love it. The job, pays you probably less than you think you deserve. But yet the time that the bell strikes, you're rushing home to nothing. Like, you're not like, and a lot of these people, like, they don't go to the gym. They don't like have a sport that they go play. They don't have, but yet they're racing out to go just hang out with nobody, or just do nothing. It's not like they're racing out to go out to some great dinner with friends, or they're going to play beach volleyball, or they're going to they're still active in lacrosse because they played in high school or something like that, or flag football, and so you'll find that most people that do that, like Tommy's a great example. He likes playing basketball, and he's got a girlfriend, and he's got a house that he's working on. He's got all these other things, and he's the last one out of here, as an example. Versus, you're a young guy working an office job, and you can't wait to get home. And I would understand you can't wait to get home because you're studying for your whatever, your advanced certified Microsoft networking certificate or something like that. But this is most people. I can't even fathom, I can't relate that at all, because when I was a young man, I was when I was in home theater, I can't wait to get home to learn about what new home theater thing I'm going to learn about. But I was always hanging around the store later. Maybe I can make an extra sale. Maybe I could. Well, there's not really any sales that no one's coming in the store. But maybe I could reorganize the remote controls. If I did sell like a floor model TV, we could kind of organize that. Or I'm going out to dinner with my friends, so I wanted to work a little bit harder, make a little bit extra money, so that I could go and buy a steak if I wanted to. Or I'd be, playing open gym volleyball, somewhere, and playing a sport, going to the gym to try to maintain health. So there wasn't enough time as a young man going to the movies, going to do things, where there's a whole generation of you. If this is resonating with you, you need to figure out. Like, imagine that you're, again, let's say you're working at, an engineering office, and you're just you're a secretary or an assistant, or you're working you're doing something you're like the main copy guy or something like that. Like, how could you not be like poking your nose into like, what are other things I could do? And if you needed more money, why wouldn't you go to your boss or go to the frickin' owner and say, hey, I have an idea of something I could do, and just be honest with them. Say, hey, I really need some more money because I want to do this and this in life. Like, what boss is going to say no to that? But you come up with, don't go to him and say, hey, what can I do? Meaning give him a job to come up with a job for you. It's, hey, I'm seeing opportunity here. So you have to be creative and be open to that kind of thing. This whole, like, I get there at the 15 minutes late, and I run out of there to go home to nothing is crazy to me. If you're racing home to get a certification or get a diploma or Forget that. Just to learn. I get it. But people aren't doing that kind of thing. And so that guy that's using Chemical Guy's products is doing that. He's working a proverbial office job, and he has nothing else to do, and he just wants to sit on the couch. Just cannot. Clearly, I can't relate to that. And there's a happy medium. My way of doing it is probably not the right way to do it, where I'm just nonstop chasing. But you don't want to have that. And then those are usually the people that, the people at the office that are complaining the most. They don't get paid enough, right? Well, they should pay me more, and then I would do more. No, you wouldn't. They just pay you more to do the same amount. You'd probably do less. Versus, how could I figure out how to get paid more? Let me solve this problem. Now, there's some toxic environments, some toxic bosses and things like that will stifle you. But that's another creative opportunity to figure out how can I win this person over? How could I win this? And that's really hard to do when you're like a teenager. Let's say you had a bad coach or something. That's hard to do if you haven't even figured out your body or your brain yet. Your brain isn't fully developed. But if you're 24 and you're working a job and you feel like there's more out there, the thing to not do is that at 5:01 or 5:0001 second, and by the way, you're anticipating the bell ringing, 10 minutes before that, racing out to go to nothing. It's not like you've got like a toddler you got to get home to or something. You're not even going to like play a sport. You're doing nothing. That is crazy to me. Don't be the Chemical Guy's mobile detailer. That guy should be watching me. Should be watching everybody. He should be learning everything there. I mean, it would take you like a week to know, a whole lot of stuff about detailing. There's so many resources out there. So that's my little Maddie tip of the day: to don't be a young person, male or female, that doesn't have some path. And I know it's not easy for everybody to figure out a path, but if you don't know, ask somebody who you think does. I promise you, they will really like that. They will really like to, you're validating them. And so you got to start to think a little bit outside the box from your normal take on things where, well, in my case, I don't want to talk to Matt because, he's the boss, and, I don't want him to know that I don't know where I'm at in life. I know, or I don't want to talk to Jim and, in accounting is, he's really got everything together. He's going to think I don't. He already knows you don't. Right? So why not just admit it and say, hey, Jim, I really like how your life is set up. What would you suggest I do? And don't give people a job. Tell them, come up with some solutions for your pathway. Kyle did this one time where he's like, I really think I need to become an architect. I think I'd like to do that. And so he went and spent weeks like pursuing that. They're about to have a kid, and he's thinking about blowing up his whole life, and still he was still have to work here because he had to pay for himself, taking on a bunch of debt, and thinking about, I was going to build a darn program to help him pay for it. And it probably would have meant that I would have had him work his way out of here, as he went and became an architect somewhere. But it was just pursuing this potential, this idea of, what maybe I should go and think about this because I'm really interested in this. And then he dug into it to the fullest and said, this really isn't what I thought it was going to be, but it was really enjoyable to go through the process and then to learn, this isn't where I think I can do better if I just focus on this or that. Instead of then like, oh, woe is me, I'm screwed. I thought this was going to be what I was going to do, and now I'm not going to do that. And go back to the whole race home to sit on the couch and stare at nothing. Because most of you young guys, you don't even watch TV. I just don't understand what you're doing. You don't cook. You don't clean. You don't play sports. You don't go out. You don't watch TV because you don't even have a cable subscription. You just watch your phone and watch TikTok videos. I mean, what do you do? I was so here, let me just think about. So let's say when I was 24. So I was 24 at Merrill Lynch. I started at Merrill Lynch. I just took a 60% pay cut. So I was making 100 G's roughly, selling stuff that I loved. And I went to Merrill Lynch for the potential. So they came in and said, well, the only reason I can make this work is Michelle was working too. So I got paid. So here I am. I was making $100-something thousand. This is and that's probably be equivalent to what, 150 today? 125, something like that today. And then and I'm a really hard degree to get, like really sacrificed a lot to have $80,000 in debt from going to college, and on my own in a city. My family's in a different state, so I don't have any backup plan there. There's no backstop. I had Mark and Charles to kind of help me, but my friend Charles that I lived with, but they were super supportive. But I'm on my own and about to get married, and took a 60% pay cut for the potential. And so, but I would work out every day, so I'd go to the gym every day. I was playing competitive, going to adult nationals. I was playing volleyball. I actually, because I decided to get my CFP, I was also playing for UCF as well again. So trying to pretend I was a college student. And I wanted to become, I wanted to be a CFP before I could even accept the CFP, which is a huge, studying undertaking. And so I'm playing sports. I was playing softball as well. I'm wakeboarding. I am still like watching TV, so watching TV, doing research on things like cars because I was on the forums. So we were in, Charles and I were into cars. We're going to different car events, stuff like that. And I'm, and I have a new job where I'm working, working crazy hours because I'm trying to cold call and become, build a business and make it happen. And getting married and then eventually having kids and all that kind of stuff. And so there was like zero time. Michelle didn't have any time. And then right after that, we bought our first house. So I'm painting the walls, and my dad flew down and we did the tile and the floor and, and doing all that kind of stuff. So that is a microcosm of what my future was to become. Playing a sport really didn't have much to do with, my future, financial success outside of the fact that there was a pursuit there. I wanted to keep playing. I wanted to stay active. And so when you're young, and I was the first one to the office and the last one to leave there while still doing all of this stuff. And so all of you young guys or your young detailers who are woe is me or don't have a path, just think about being active and think about potential, like what could I do, and be creative around what you could do instead of this I don't know what to do. Find somebody and freaking ask them. Just start trying stuff. 5 and 1 millisecond, you're racing home in your garbage car to your garbage apartment. You've got no money, so you can't do anything, and you're not doing anything about it. That, to me, just makes zero sense. Take a risk, take a gamble, do something better. If you're doing a job that you love, this could be great. Like if you're doing a company or you're with a company or with a job that you love, why wouldn't you become a subject matter expert in what it is you're doing and learn other things that maybe you're not doing, like learn what your competitors are doing, and then just start poking your nose in whatever they're doing. That maybe it's not your job. That I'm telling you that leadership loves those kind of people, like the people that are just inquisitive. Don't be annoying. Don't be in the way. Don't be asking for too much. Always think, when I ask my superior something, am I giving them a task, or am I coming with solutions? Am I coming with value? You can ask questions about things, but don't give them a job. Hey, I'd like to do more. They just gave them a job. Instead of, hey, I want to do this, this, and this. I've been really seeing that we're missing this gap here. I really think the soap dispenser in the bathroom is really just not great. I've done a bunch of research. I found this one. Would it be okay? I bought it. Would it be okay if I put it in there and really made it great? And I know I'm gonna have to patch the walls and stuff like that. Could I bring Tim over here or John over here, because he's really good at that kind of thing, and ask him how to do that? Whatever. Just little stupid stuff like that. And that might mean you have to stay till like 5:32. Instead of 5 and 1 millisecond. And what you may find, you might actually like being there better than sitting there staring at the wall, doing frickin' nothing, just scrolling on your phone, a bunch of nonsense. And then guess what? You'll get a better phone because you'll have more money, because next thing you know, when the promotion comes up, you're the one that's chosen. Instead of being stuck using Chemical Guy's junk because you can't wait to get home and have a six-pack. Shoot, I envy that guy more than most people, because at least he knows he's going to go have a six-pack, for gosh sakes, He's looking forward to something. So, anyway, that's my advice.
There you go.
For whatever that's worth.
King Leo, tell your detailer to watch our channel. That's the short version.
Watch this video.
Luke Goodwin, Luke. Super chat, $5. How do you deal with employees that are entitled or try and take advantage of your type of business and culture?
If that's the case, then you probably want to look inside. Be introspective. Where am I going wrong that they're having that sense? Where have I gone wrong? It's probably something you said. Like, for example, we used to just let people come and use the garage, right? And I was like, hey, it's my house, everybody's house. Well, it's really not. I really didn't mean that. So I was saying something that I really didn't mean. And so we had gotten to the point where I'd have to come in and clean up after like the even the brand new guy, lowest man on a totem pole, is jerking around with my crap, and I got to come frickin' clean up the oil. They dumped all over my floor. And so oftentimes, so in that case, it was my fault. I kind of encouraged this when I really didn't mean it. So culture oftentimes is very much based on language and how you're presenting yourself. And it starts with you as the owner, and then, kind of works down leadership. And the problem is, there's a few people that are just innately know how to manage this kind of thing, but those are like, very, like, some fraction of a 0.1%. There's a very rare instance. So most people in leadership don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. You don't know how to. No, we don't. None of us know how to do it. Now you know how to do it when you're like 70 and you're dying. You're done. You're 80 years old and you're dead. Right. So, and even then, if you weren't susceptible, you weren't open to coaching and introspection and really learning and doing what I was just talking about earlier, you're gonna you still don't know. So you have to understand that nobody knows, and you also have to understand that culture and entitlement and things that come from poor culture can always be walked back. And the less emotion, and I've learned this as I've matured as a leader. Like we just had Sean leave, and that probably would have sent me off the deep end here not too long ago. Like, what did I do? It would have been all narcissistic. What did I do wrong? What's wrong with this? When really it's he wants to be a professional engineer. It's not about us. That maybe we didn't have quite the opportunity in the time frame that he needed in order to stay. But we've had that with other people too that have left, and we will in the future. But and we've had moments in time where there was entitlement, but almost always it was something that I was saying. Now, occasionally you get some people that are just not savable, right? That, and very often what happens is that you get somebody who is in a position, they feel like they're underpaid, they feel like they're underappreciated, and probably because they are underappreciated, and they start to develop I should be getting paid more. If I got paid more, I'd be happier. We know that isn't true. So oftentimes that entitlement comes from, and I know this very well because I'm not so great with the appreciation part of things. That appreciation thing it can change entitlement big time. And then often having the conversation you don't want to have as soon as you can of, hey, this is not going to fly. And then you'll know. It's like, you watch these shows where the girl loves the guy and then the guy doesn't pick her and then all of a sudden she hates him, like, oh my God. All of a sudden that it changes. Well, the same thing can happen with employees, where if somebody all of a sudden hates you because you've called them out on something, then maybe you need to move on. Maybe you need to part ways.
Neil White wants to know, hey Matt, are you going to see John Wick Chapter 4?
Yeah, I like those movies. They're good.
In the theater, or you?
No.
Okay.
Theaters are dead to me. I have no interest in going to the theater. I haven't been to a theater in years.
There you go, Kevin. That answers your question then. How do you think a good home theater compares to a commercial theater?
Yeah, way better than almost all of them. Unless you're going to some like marquee place where it was really designed well, it's almost always better to watch. I'm not a big screen aficionado. Big screen just means crappy quality generally, unless you're spending tons and tons of money. So I would much rather watch on my couch and not have to be in some sticky seat with some freaking douchebag looking at their phone the whole time, or some chick talking or something like that. Plus, there's always you're always a little bit on edge, because there's almost always in movie theaters, depending on what time you go, there's always young men, like teenage type men. There's always that potential for altercation, if you will, in a movie theater. It's always been that way. I've always had that kind of on. You just kind of have your spidey senses up, because it happens often when you get some punk that's throwing popcorn at people, and you just want to go rip their head off. And then worst thing you have, you get knocked out by some 17-year-old. It's never happened to me, but there's always that kind of nonsense that goes on in the theater.
You fall right into your sticky seat. It's bad news.
Mm-hmm. You fall, flatlined right on the ground. Your head is laying in an old jujube spot. Melted jujube spot. Yeah.
Oh man, Slitster. Yo Matt, Cox hose reel steel mount win. Last piece of the puzzle I'm missing before I can set up the wall mount. Well, actually, Andrew, the guy who does those for us, took off of work today because he's finishing them up and shipping them out. Hopefully today or tomorrow. So.
There you go.
Next week we'll have them here. The Mad Piranha says, okay, thanks, Matt. High five for a birthday present. That's good. Yeah, take that to your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever.
Just ask him, what do you want? That doesn't involve me doing anything.
Oh, good stuff. RT says, when does the Cayman arrive?
It's supposedly a June or July delivery, May build.
MX304 has a question. This is about to be answered in a video, I think. Are you going to do a full gut remodel on Adam LZ's house?
Very likely, yes.
Justin Schaefer, Matt, would you put DMF lights in a garage or stay with the Cree surface mount lights that have a higher output?
DMF you would sprinkle in, and we now have a 5K solution coming. So I think you want 5,000 Kelvin in your garage. But generally speaking, you would only want those for like accenting. I wouldn't do those. You'd have to do like 100 of them in your garage versus maybe 15 Cree fixtures.
We have a super chat, $9.99 from Yoshi. This may be satirical. What kind of build or mods does Matt recommend for my vape so I can make some sick clouds at my local takeover at my straight piped Subaru BRZ?
Oh gosh.
I think Yoshi's the one who bought the douche scale a couple years ago, actually. So maybe he'll buy the hot dog roller too. Yoshi, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Sutherland says, Matt, you were able to explain a feeling I've had on a number of my cars, old and stinky. Mm-hmm. I have a 98 6MT Super Turbo, and even though it's clean, I have a hard time with the fact that it isn't perfect.
The Savage Geese just made a video, and he's made it. It's like a I forget what he called. But go watch the Savage Geese video on it. It's just such a stupid car. That it's like same with the GTR. Just like these beloved piles that they're just junk. I have no interest. If you gave me one, I'd just throw it away. Just so somebody else didn't have to be stuck with that stupid thing. Makes no sense.
That thing? Like one like that?
Yeah. It handles horribly. Slow as molasses. So then you spend $100,000 on it, making it frickin' drive sliding around all over the place with a laptop on your front seat. The whole thing is stupid.
Oh, man.
No interest.
Scott Taylor wants to know, do you have any thoughts of a golf simulator at the Helen House with the golf course so close by?
No, golf is for some other people, not for this people. No, but I'm buying a racing sim for it.
Matt, have you ever used the clay pads with the DA? AT wants to know.
Yeah, I did in the past, but it doesn't work for squat. So the only thing it does is introduce the potential for marring. But when it first came out, I was like, oh, this is great. I can just put it on my machine and swirl it around. But it works like 50% as well as just using it on your hand, and then has all kinds of potential issues that you could, add additional marring and stuff like that. So yeah, I would highly suggest just use that way you can control pressure and stuff like that.
All right, last question here. This one from Steve. Have you guys gotten in any of the Sonic Next toolboxes to look at? Visually different, but otherwise works the same?
No, I didn't even know there was a thing. So maybe I should pay more attention.
I Googled it, but I don't.
Yeah, not sure what he's talking about. I'll have to ask him.
Next. There we go. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you all for the questions, for tuning in, for supporting us. We definitely appreciate it. I think we're back next week, right? You going to be around next week?
Yep, I think so.
It's March 31st.
Yeah,
you guys aren't going to hell until like a couple weeks after that,
yep.
Right? Okay.
Cool. We'll see you then.
Later. All right, thanks, everybody.
We're going to get the podcast up right now.